lot of people use K2, but we use K1, and that's something to keep a note of because there's a bulb not too far from here where the panels blew off in the first storm, and then the massive storm we had, the rest of them blew off then. So it's important to just to note that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like.
Is that a rating? K1, K2, or?
Yeah. So it's testing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's tested to the best it can be tested.
Yeah. So yeah, look, that's the panels and the battery and how the battery can work for yourself. Do you mean? Any other questions kind of around that, or?
Is there individual monitoring on the panels themselves when the system's installed? Like if you get a fault in one panel out of 20 or 24, can you tell that, or how do you know?
You can tell it. There's two different systems sort of in play there. If you go with a fully optimized system, you can actually read every panel. But again, that's typically 20% more cost because you're adding extra equipment so you can read every panel. But on the standard installations, most people just go with standard string systems. By means of that is that most inverters have 2 strings, 10 panels in that string, 10 panels in that string. Typically, you can only tell what's happening on each string. Yes, if one string's underperforming, you can dig a bit further, and with some electrical testing and stuff, you can actually find the panel that you want to. But from a customer point of view, it's a wee bit more trickier to see that right away. But if you pay for the more expensive system, you can actually see it on the app. That one's black, it's not working. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, there's different systems out there. Do you know what I mean? Optimized and not optimized. Do you know what I mean? That's really what it boils down to. All right.
Are they connected in series or parallel?
Series. Yeah. Oh, look, some systems is wired in parallel. It all depends what you want to do with it. But most of our systems are all series. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Domestically, they're all series, really. Do you know what I mean? Only commercially where they might be paralleled. Do you know what I mean?
So if one goes open circuit, whatever reason, you lose the lot?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Again, if you have optimizers, it doesn't happen.
Right.
It's only on a string system. Yeah. Yeah.
To make optimal angle pitch of the roof, that you need to be concerned about on the roof?
We don't really be too concerned with the pitch on the roof because most roofs are 35 degrees, and for Ireland, actually 35 degrees is kind of optimal. I mean, for like the sun, the way the sun travels. I mean, from the year on, from the low to the winter to the high to the summer. Yeah, look, some people will say, well, 28 is optimal or 32 is optimal. Like, I mean, again, location-wise, but most roofs are around 35 degrees, and that's fine. I mean, I especially would recommend washing them once a year for sure, and I think everybody here in the company as well would say is also, actually I would nearly consider twice a year, spring and autumn. Do you mean, because that's the 2 times a year that's coming into play. Do you mean, so, and again, it all depends where you're at. Like, if your trees are maybe nearby, they're going to be dew on them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, definitely. Look, the window cleaners are taking them on as a job now, so it's only another job for a window cleaner. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Is lime particularly disruptive to them?
Lime?
Yeah, it's been spread in the fields nearby.
Oh yeah, dust. Yeah, for dust wise. Yeah.
Dust, but
Yeah.
not anything other than
No,
that.
no,
Okay.
no. That's it. That's it. Because they're all tannalized and coated with stuff like so. No, it's no problem to me. Any other questions on?
What is the cost of each panel there?
So, I suppose the best way to break it down is we would cost the system first.
Yeah.
So let's just say, I don't know, a system costs you 10,000, panels, batteries, or whatever. The way we look at it is, from a company, if you were adding extra panels to that system, we'd be charging 280 quid now, isn't it? 280 quid.
280 euro per
Yeah,
panel. So
per
the
panel.
way we sized it is on a domestic house. So we sized for 10 panels. So we'll put you a proposal forward for 10 panels. So we'll give you a proposal for 10 panels on a standard kind of a job. So on your front page here, standard 10 panel system. This will apply to MICA rebuilds or retrofitting, not new houses. The price will apply, but the grant won't apply. 7,400 euros. Take the grant of 1,800 off it, it's 5,600 euros. So you have a 10 panel system fitted, battery ready, for 5,600 euros, including the grant. And then we go to the next page. A lot of people, like ourselves and everyone, they don't tell you their financial situation, and you've no right to know that. But you let the customer then build to suit their financial needs. but keeping in mind to put in a practical system which will hit a dent on your electric bills. We have a lot of MICA houses on the moment that we're doing the heating and plumbing in. They're also doing solar now as well. A 14 panel system, a 12, 14 panel system is a fantastic system. 16 is superb because the wattage of the panels now is 450 watts. So each panel then that you add is €280 per panel. A hot water diverter for Eddie, which Martin will explain. And then we give two options of battery, a budget price battery and a premium price battery. And then there's other items there. So you can build a system to suit your financial situation, but keeping in mind that you should be putting on, depending on your bills, what size of system that you should be putting on to suit your needs. Back to your question, a 10 panel system is €5,600 whenever SEA grant pay the grant, and then you add to that to suit. So you get a damn good system fitted for €8,000–9,000. So you would.
Battery ready.
Battery ready. We fit all our systems that it can always take a battery in the future.
And what's the sweet spot as regards battery investment then?
A lot of people say to us, should I do a battery, should I not do a battery? Anybody who batteries is fitted say you shouldn't fit the system unless you put in a battery. Anybody doesn't have a solar system says, sure, it doesn't work. But anybody that has a system and doesn't have a battery, after a length of time, they'll want the battery. So they will. But you need to be going up towards the 12 panels to make the battery really, really work. You know, and make everything work satisfactory.
Which is the batteries? 2.5 kilowatt or?
The batteries we do will vary from €1,400 to €2,000, depending on what brand of a battery you want to go with.
And what size?
And what
5 or
size.
10 or, I mean, because there's, yeah. But also, just on that point there, Chris is explaining, like, if you have a bigger system, which I was going to touch on as well, like 14 or 16, which is satisfying your needs. Also, there's a thing, just so you're aware of it, in the height of the summertime, or even like you look at last April past there, like it was fantastic weather, like, I mean, whenever the inverter reaches its maximum of generating 5 kilowatt back onto the grid, like you might have a 6 or 7 kilowatt system sitting on the roof. If you have a battery connected to your system, you're not losing that other 2 kilowatt. That's actually going straight to your battery as well. So you're actually making the system more efficient actually by adding a battery to it as well. I mean, as well as the other benefits outside of it, you're actually maximising your system as well because you're not losing any energy. Because sometimes when you do start going over the 16 panels, it's called clipping. I mean, and you lose a wee bit of energy only in the summertime, really, to be fair. But there is certain days that might happen during the year, and if you have a battery in the system, you don't lose that. I mean, so that's another benefit, I mean, of having a battery, really. All right.
See there, during the day when it's charged up, then you use the battery at night time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How long usually does the battery last? Could you pass one?
It kind of depends on the size, but if you have a heat pump installed, a 10 kilowatt battery would probably last you to about 6 a.m. If that makes sense. If you don't have a heat pump, a 5 kilowatt battery would last you to 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of a scale. Do you know what I mean? Just a wee bit of a comparison. Do you know what I mean? All right.
What you didn't allow for solar panels during the rebuild initially, is there any provisions you'd want to leave?
Yes.
Or
Yes, you want to be like cabling, you want to have, again, it's a wee bit of foresight, like, leaving where is the inverter going to go, where's your panels, like, I mean, all that type of stuff. It might be in the shade, it could be in the attic, or not the attic, but the void at the side, I mean, if it's big enough, or in the utility room. So you need to leave provisions, cabling wise, do you know what I mean, so that's the big thing, really.
Sometimes people put the hooks on the roof
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
before it's been slated. Leave them ready so the roof works minimum as well.
Yeah. Again, like it's always that bit tighter if the hooks are.
Like if we're getting used to do the solar panel, we can now get the hooks off you and the roofer.
Well, we'll do the hooks.
Alright.
We do the hooks. The roofer has but I mean, we'll install their hooks because then we know where they are. Do you know what I mean, so.